Well, to kind of wrap things up here, I wanted to go over one of the last things is the rudder, right? And this is kind of like one of those quandary things because a DVD that we're making today will be out there 10 years from now, no doubt about it, because all the information will probably still be good. On the other hand, pieces and parts and things that we do in our kayaks sometimes progress and change and better products come out and all that. So we got to be careful about getting too specific inside of DVDs. So I'm going to show you generically how the rudder system works and how it's all connected. And then there'll be more instructions with the actual rudders that we ship out. Okay, that seems fair and it keeps us out of trouble here. So to start with, pretty much all rudders are going to have a stay, right? So we can pull and flip that down. And basically this is just a chock and it's got kind of like little teeth in here so that when you're sitting here you can just reach around and pull it up and it'll go ahead and stay for you, right? And the reason for that is when you start getting towards shore, you're getting into the weeds and the rudder's actually a hindrance instead of a help. You just reach around, give it a quick tug and up she comes. And then after you launch and you get out into the deeper water, you just drop it right down. All right, so you can probably notice this all the way up here. This is kind of like on a bicycle, right? You've got these little tiny wires in here, a little bit thicker than a piano wire. And they run along the inside of this tube. And we have this tube attached all the way down and then going down through the hull. And we'll talk about that in a second. And effectively, the cable attaches to each side of this so that as it pulls, it goes left or right. So as I do this, I can actually see the foot pedals flipping back and forth. All right, and now I've got them both flipped forward, so that's kind of messy, but every rudder is basically going to work this way. Now this particular one, you open up these sides and you screw them down, and again, that'll all be shown in whatever directions that we send out with a rudder. All right, so let's talk about the thing most people are going to ask about is this hole right here. All right, the hole that you're going to put in your kayak to have the cable come through can't just be a hole that's drilled right down through, because then you're coming up at a hard right angle and basically doing in, up, and over. And what that's going to do is it's going to kink your cable right there, so that it makes it, the foot pedals are just going to be too hard to release. So the easiest way to make this hole is to drill down and then just tilt your drill. And basically that'll elongate the hole coming out this way. And then once you're done with that, go ahead and fill the inside of that, not fill, but go ahead and paint the inside of that with epoxy, seal it all up really good, and then you can go ahead and run your tubes. And again, you can see these are the screws from when we put our deck on this particular boat. This is the tandem kayak with 2 tandem cockpits. And you can see all we did is we took where these screws were and we go ahead and we put cable tie downs right here all the way up. These are UV protected so that they should last a reasonable amount of time. All right, so the next little detail we ought to talk about are some bungees. Handy little things for tucking your jacket up there, or a towel, or an umbrella, or anything you just want to quickly attach to the side of your boat. There's like no rule for this. We took advantage of the screw holes that we had that were holding the deck down, and we simply, on every other one here, we zigzagged back and forth using the bungee material, and then we clip on right at the end so they can be taken off if we want to. All right, now on this particular boat, we haven't done it yet, and this boat's been out on the water a few times, but what we're going to do is put bungees between the 2 cockpits so that there's a place for the person in the rear to stick their stuff. There's not really any room in the back. I mean, you can put bungees back there, but you're going to have a deck hatch back there, right? So we'll be having a hatch that goes into the back of the boat. You can put bungees there. Just remember, if you stuff stuff underneath there, you're going to have to take it all out to get to your hatch. No big deal. People do it all the time. All right, so the last thing I want to do is I want to grab a seat and show you how we put those in the boat. And that'll pretty much wrap up the finishing on this boat. We have spent untold amounts of hours researching seats over the years and trying a lot of different seats and throwing a lot of them away because we just didn't like them. We absolutely love the seats that we have now. They're comfortable, they're very adjustable, and let me show you basically how these work. On the backs, there are clips that come right off the back of the seat, and there are clips that come off the side. And these are basically the same kind of clips that you find on the end of a dog leash. Right, so all we do is we put these little loops in here on the back on the bulkheads, and all the kayaks are designed so that these bulkheads are within reach for the seats. You know, kind of makes sense. And then we have these loops. On this particular one, it's on the deck supports, right? So we got a deck support here and a deck support there. We got a loop. So all I have to do now is go ahead and clip these in. And that is a pretty simple process. And then once you get the back in, then you go ahead and do the sides. All right. Now this seat came out of another kayak, so it's all misadjusted right now, which is good because it gives me the opportunity to show you how to adjust it. So if you look on the back here, you find a number of pulls. And this will make a whole lot more sense when you're doing it and you can actually see everything that's going on. But effectively, I am simply adjusting the straps so that everything starts to make a little bit of sense. And it's kind of like the same straps that you would find on a backpack and for adjusting the straps. And then you do the other side. All right, so you get the idea. Now, I do have a gap back here, and each set of plans is going to give you generally where everybody's buttocks ought to be. And that's going to vary a little bit on weight and height and all that kinds of stuff, how much, especially on a kayak like this with how many pounds are in the front, how many pounds are in the back, and you're gonna have to shift around a little bit, and that's why it's really important for us to have seats that are adjustable. One of the other reasons you got a gap back here is most seats, hopefully you'll get them from us, but if you don't, you know, you may want to get different kinds of pack inserts. This one happens to be for water, right? It's got a couple of water bottles. This slips right in here, and it clips right on, so that you need to make sure that you have space. So I think probably the last thing I can do is show you a couple of things that I wouldn't be out on a kayak without. All right, so I'm going to install a couple of things and tell you what they are. So two things, you know, the packs are neat and the bungees are neat, and yeah, there's a lot of useful things. Here's a couple of things that I just wouldn't go out without. All right, these are called paddle clips. You are undoubtedly from time to time going to want to put your paddle down, and if you're out in the water, there's only two places to put it: in the boat or out of the boat. Paddle clips allow you to put it on the boat, which is just a wonderful thing, because you know you don't want to be doing this trying to go find the paddle you dropped in the water. All right, step one. And step two is paddle chase, and that's this kind of long squiggly thing that coils and wraps around your paddle, so that if you do lose your paddle, it's only going to go as far as this, and you can go ahead and pick that back up again. All right, so a lot of things on a kayak I think are optional. There's a couple of things I just wouldn't leave the dock without. Okay, that's about as much as I can teach you about putting a kayak together. I hope we did a good job, and I hope you learned everything you needed. But if you didn't, you know how to get in touch with us. Throughout this DVD, we've probably had 3 or 4 kayaks in the DVD. We've been filming this thing for months now. I tried to show you as many variations as possible so that we covered all the bases, and I think we did that. Make sure you check and read your plans, right? Because there's a lot of stuff we can pack into a DVD or a book, but at the end of the day, specific stuff about specific boats is going to be on your plans. And it's amazing how many times I get a phone call from people asking me a question when it's sitting right on the plans page, all right? So don't mind getting your calls, love getting your calls, love getting your emails, really love getting your pictures. So be sure and send in some pictures. But make sure you read those plans, okay? Above all, if there's anything I can leave you with, is enjoy the journey, right? building this boat is going to be a lot of fun, and you're going to remember it for years. And if you can, do it with a kid, because that kid will remember it for decades. I know I did. See you out on the water.